will you strap yourself in a metal tub with 500 horsepower? No downforce, no data collection, no push to pass. No slick tires, no ABS or traction control, no grip. Just you, hanging on for dear life. 500 miles, over 200 miles an hour, inches from an unforgiving concrete wall. Do you have big balls? Welcome to Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for the 5th round of the eFormulaSeries Formula 3.5 Championship. We have 9 cars on the track currently, which is not a huge field today, but due to that maybe the weather in Western Europe currently, and obviously it is still vacation time around the world as well, so hopefully we can make this a great race here at the Road America road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Currently, we are watching the final minutes of practice tick away. So let's take a quick look at the venue where we are at. Road America is a motorsport road course located near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It has hosted races since the 1950s and currently hosts races in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, the NTT IndyCar Series, and many more. The race lap record is currently 1 minute 39.866, set by Dario Franchitti in the Champ Car World Series in 2000. The track features many elevation changes, along with a long front stretch where speeds may approach 260 kilometers an hour. One of the best known features of this course is a turn on the backstretch known as the kink. It is one of the few tracks in the world maintaining its original configuration with a length of 6.5 kilometers and 14 turns. Welcome to Road America. Welcome to eFormulaSeries. And you're back live at Road America, where we have just started the qualifying session, and we are currently looking at Sam Winton. So far, nobody has posted a time yet, but we can see down in the graphics below who is on their best laps, and the purple color there indicates a better time than anyone that is running. So we're gonna just see where the favorites are. Here is Paul Ilbrink in the number 16 car, and he is looking fairly strong here, like always. Dave Guild was also running extremely strong in practice, and as said, the field is not very big today as what we're used to, but there we have Felipe Pinheiro having a little off here. But nonetheless, we're looking forward to a good race here. It is Cedric Bill that posts the quickest lap time just for a few instances, immediately being overtaken by Fabio Do Carmo. We are doing open qualifying in this series, as you know by now. If you've watched us before, that means that all the cars are on the track at the same time, just like in real-life road course racing. Beautiful venue here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. A very old track that has really never been changed, and a beautiful facility for motorsport fans. A lot of IndyCar, famous for IndyCar races, obviously. Also famous for IMSA races and touring car races, club races. There is also a go-kart track around here at this venue, so a lot of motorsports event happening here. And let's go see further back. We have, there we have Do Carmo going off on his, what is his second lap, probably. Let's bring that back for you. Just a little early on the gas. The track temperature is fairly high. We can bring up that race information for you. Oops, doing two things at the same time here. The Road America map course on the top left of your screen, you see the famous carousel, and at the top of that little map you see what was referred to as the kink in the intro video. The current ambient temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. The track temperature is 41 degrees Celsius, which could hinder the drivers a little bit. It might make for a somewhat slippery track. We have a relative humidity of only 55%, partly cloudy sky, and no winds to speak of. Let's go find some other of the drivers here. And you see Cedric Bill currently in the second position with a 148.53. And you can see that Paul Ilbrink with the yellow bars down there at the bottom is trying to set his best sectors there. The green bar shows that that is his personal best sector there in the fifth sector. Track's been divided up by iRacing in 6 sectors. There you have Paul coming across the line. And it looks like he ran a 149.3. Currently in the 4th position is Luciano Costa in the number 13 car, in the famous livery that we saw Nelson Piquet become champion in. I believe he also runs the same helmet as Nelson Piquet. And there he is back into the pits after a little off. Let's go take a look here further down the field. In 7th position, we currently have Atish Debising calling it a lap there. Kevin T. Shine is yet to post a lap. And it looks like his first 4 sectors were a personal best there, being in the way of Cedric Biel there. That is partially the problem of open qualifying for the faster guys. They might run into one of the other guys having a little trouble there. Let's see if Kevin had a lap time put in. Yes, he did, 156.3. And apart from Danny Hoekstra, he is currently the only driver, Danny Hoekstra, that has not posted a time. Danny is currently in the pit lane, and it looks like he's going out. And we know that the heat in Western Europe is playing parts a little bit there. Ooh, there we see Fabio Do Carmo having a little off. He's still the quickest man on the track. Look at his last sectors. His second and third sector were the quickest of anybody. I'm sorry, that was Fabio Do Carmo. Yeah, we're looking at Fabio Do Carmo. I apologize. We got to look everywhere at the same time. And Dave Guild currently getting ready to go out to do another qualifying lap. And Danny Hoekstra is currently out on track. The Tulip Racing Machine. Let's ride along here with Danny for a little bit. That's turn 8 you're looking at, and there under the bridge we'll be going into the carousel turn. A long right-hander, sweeping turn, medium speed, and then it's all out. We're heading towards the kink here. And it's all out, reaching a top speed of right around 160 miles an hour. See if we can give you that in kilometers. About 270 kilometers an hour there for Danny Hoekstra on the backstretch. This is his out lap. He hasn't been past start-finish line yet to start timed lap. Here he comes on the main straightaway. And here you see the elevation changes coming towards the start-finish line. There is the flag stand. Reaching their top speed into turn 1, back to third or fourth gear. And back to third or second gear here, and then it's once again full on the throttle, long straightaway. That will lead to a sharp left-hander. Good place to try and pass somebody. Down to second gear here. Good runoff area. Under the bridge, and then the car gets a little light as you turn into a left-hander. And then we go right once again, and that brings us back where we picked up Danny. We're going left towards the carousel. There you have him. And we're looking at Felipe Pinheiro that has a little off moment there. Let's go see and check out what happened to him. A little bit early on the gas, it looks like. And it's very easy for the drivers to throw that Formula Renault 3.5 around. It's not an easy car to drive, especially on tracks like this where long straightaways and some tight medium speed turns are making you decide and making you think about what you want to do as far as downforce is concerned. You want to have as little downforce as possible to reach high-end speed, but obviously you're going to need some downforce to get this car through the turns. And with high track temperatures, that is a tough dilemma for the drivers to work on. And we are looking at Kevin Shine having a little off moment here as well, not able to slow it down enough. And then on the grass, it's obviously with the slick tires, it's a bit of a challenge to keep that car headed in the right direction. Let's go back and check on Cedric Beal, one of the quickest drivers in the field, currently second position. Paul Ilbrink in third with a 148.83. There you see Paul in the number 16 car. Also a Dutch native, just like Danny Hoekstra. Sam Winton having another moment, it looks like. No, it looks like he's okay. Kevin Shine. Sam Winton back out on track. And it looks like Danny Hoekstra has posted a time, and that is a 150.06, just a tad slower than Dave Guild. Dave in the English version of Tulip Racing, they have an A and a B team basically. And it looks like Danny Hoekstra has posted a 149.93, moving ahead of Dave Guild in the order. 6th position currently. And we have Luciano Costa coming back out in the number 13 car. Pit speed is limited to 45 miles an hour. Luciano giving way there to one of the faster cars. I believe that was Cedric Beal, and that is a good sportsmanship. You don't want to be in the way of somebody that's on a flying lap. And let's go check on Paul Ilbrink. He has put in 2 very good sectors there, personal bests. And he comes across the line with a 148.57. That is his personal best time so far, it looks like. David Guild has brought it underneath the 150 mark with a 149.97. And currently only 4 drivers on the track. Cedric Beal, 148.36. And qualifying has finished. Officially, time has expired. The guys that are on a run on a lap can finish the lap, and that time will stand. So we see Cedric Beal here finishing his final lap. And that was not an improvement on his best time. We see Paul Ilbrink coming back here for his final lap time. He is currently at the carousel going down the backstretch. And it looks like his third sector was a personal best. And he's only 4/10 of a second behind the current pole sitter, Fabio Do Carmo, so he might have the opportunity to steal that pole position. We've seen him on pole in all the races he's been in. And this might be the first time that he's not going to be there. There he comes down the main stretch towards the start-finish line. Over the hump, the flag stand is on his left here, and he is posting a personal best time that equals Cedric Beal's time by just a few thousandths of a second, and he does not improve his position. And that brings us to the main event here today. Let's get ready for the race. As the seconds here are ticking away, once again bring that information up to you. The track temperature seems to be consistent at 41 degrees. It is a 6.41 kilometer track, 14 turns as you heard, and we have 10 drivers coming to the start of the race. The final moments of qualifying are ticking away. As said, that there is always a little bit of extra time allocated for those that are still on a running lap, which currently is nobody at all. And the series currently in its first season. A lot of American tracks, they follow the iRacing schedule mostly. And let's go and bring the grid up for you for today's race at Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We have Fabio Do Carmo in the number 4 car on the pole position. There he is. Alongside him will be Cedric Beal in the number 5 car. Then it's going to be Paul Ilbrink in the number 16 car on the second row. On his outside will be Luciano Costa in the number 13 car. Then on the third row, it'll be Felipe Pinheiro in the 20. The 91 of Danny Hoekstra is in the 6th position. The fourth row is for David Guild in the 98 and Sam Winton in the 17. On the 5th and final row, we have Kevin Shine in the number 40 car and Atish Dabising in the number 10 car. And that makes up your grid for today's race. And let's reload quickly to make sure that scoring works the way it's supposed to. There we go. And before we get going, we can take a quick look at the point standings in the championship. We have Javier Alvarez and Paul Ilbrink even at 60 points. Alvarez is not here today. Fabio Do Carmo is third with 56. Lubomir Moric is fourth. Then it's Domingo. Moric and Domingo not here today. Cedric Beal in 6th position with 28 points. Bruno Canovas not here today either. And then Reinaldo Augusto, Letouvet, and Danny Hoekstra in 10th place with 16 points. With the field being a little bit smaller today, it might make for a good opportunity for some of these drivers to gain some points and some positions in the eFormulaSeries championship standings. There's the lights. When the lights go off, we will be racing.
Green, green, green.
There we go. The race is underway. It is Fabio Do Carmo, Cedric Beal leading the pack here towards turn 1. 10 drivers in the race. Paul Ilbrink already looking there in 3rd position. And it looks like everybody is coming through the turn good. No problems for the drivers. The first 4 drivers slotting in single file already. It is Fabio Do Carmo leading the way in front of Cedric Beal. And Paul Ilbrink in third, already looking to check on Cedric taking a defensive line. Do Carmo taking a defensive line there with Cedric Beal on the outside. There is no way they can make that. We have one driver off. That looks like Dave Guild has gone off in that left-hander turn here. Let's take a quick look at what happened to him. He just overshoots his braking point. And that was all she wrote. Let's bring her back up to the front here quickly. Fabio Do Carmo still in the lead with Cedric Beal, and Luciano Costa has taken over. Ooh, something has happened to Paul Ilbrink. Let's go check. There we have it. The next corner, keep an eye on Paul Ilbrink, where we get over the hump. We get a little light, and he just misses his braking point there, I believe. And slowly into the wall. I hope he does not damage from that. It doesn't look like it. Let's bring it back one more time and see if there was no touch involved. He comes up towards that turn here. Oh, it looks like he just is a little bit surprised by the earlier braking of Cedric Beal, or Luciano Costa, sorry, and that is what surprises him and it causes him to go back off. All right, back live. There we have Paul. He is now in 9th position, and he has some making up to do. First lap behind our belt with Fabio Do Carmo, and it looks like Paul Ilbrink is going to pit lane. That is an early pit stop. Does he have any damage on that car? I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. He is bringing it down to pit road here. We'll keep an eye on him for you. Fabio Do Carmo and Luciano Costa in second with Cedric Beal. They are side by side coming towards the turn here. Cedric Beal takes the inside. He keeps it alongside, but he's not making the pass just yet. Now he is. It took him 2 turns to get that done. Danny Hoekstra in a 4th position there with Felipe Pinheiro right behind him. So there we see the numbers 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Then it's a little bit of a gap towards Sam, and it looks like Paul Ilbrink is still in the pits. Not sure if he's going to be coming back out again. And that looks like an awfully long pit stop, so I'm fearing for the worst. Fabio Do Carmo in the lead. Cedric Beal and Luciano Costa coming towards that that right-hander there. A little bit of slip sliding around, it looks like. It looks like Pinheiro is having a little bit more trouble keeping up with these guys. Paul Ilbrink is back out on track. It took a long pit stop. Not sure if that was for fuel and tires and repairs, but it took him quite a bit. Hopefully he can make up for some lost time. He's 57 seconds behind, so that is pretty much 2/3 of a lap. And we know he's fast, so we're not giving up on him just yet. There we have Da Costa and Hoekstra fighting there for the 3rd position. Looks like Danny's getting a little racy already. Fabio Do Carmo is clear by 1.6 seconds in front of Cedric Beal. It's Da Costa in 3rd, and you're looking at Danny Hoekstra right behind him with Felipe Pinheiro in 5th. And then it's Sam Wenton a little bit further back. These guys can score some good points here today, with some of the leaders in the championship being absent, and Paul Ilbrink having dropped back to 10th position after that crash. Or I would say it's not a crash, it's just an off track. It didn't look to me like he had a lot of damage, but evidently he decided a pit stop was necessary. As you know, we are running at 50% fuel capacity in these cars in the series. That makes that they have to make a pit stop for fuel, and they can also take tires if they want to. Paul Ilbrink has taken that pit stop in lap 1, and that is probably not going to keep him to the end. Ooh, that is not very good here. We see Cedric Beal going off. Let's take a quick look and see if he had some help there. Let's check that on the rear end cam. There you see Da Costa. Yes, I do believe that that was a slight touch, if at all. It was netcode, maybe. It's hard to tell. And it looks like Cedric Beal drops back to the fifth position behind Costa. Now 3.7 seconds to make up. And would you believe it, that puts Danny Hoekstra in second position. What happened to Costa? Did he also suffer there? Here he's still in front of Danny Hoekstra. Oh, he has a little bit of an off track there, getting onto the main straightaway, and that allows Danny Hoekstra to take second position. Danny is 3.5 seconds behind Do Carmo, and he has Felipe Pinheiro right on his tail. So Cedric Beal now in fourth position. Let's go check on Da Costa. He has dropped back. Ooh, Cedric Beal has another problem. Ooh. Let's go see what happens here. He has a slight off, and then it's David Guild. Ooh, they touch as Bill cannot control his car coming on the track. David Guild is involved in that, and so is Luciano da Costa. That means that Cedric Bill will... he's got a pretty damaged car, it looks like. Yes, indeed. That car is not even wanting to run straight. Very unfortunate for Cedric Beal. Hopefully he can make it to the pit lane and get that car fixed. We only have 10 drivers in the race. It might be worth your while to just keep going. And he is trying hard to make it. Yes, that car is definitely not straight anymore. That is very unfortunate for him. That puts Sam Winton in the 17 car in the fourth position, right in front of Dave Guild. Let's hope that Dave doesn't have any damage from that incident. It doesn't look like it. Atish Debising is now 6th. Kevin Shine is 7th. Luciano Costa also with trouble there at the front end of his car. And it looks like he will be having to go to pit lane as well. And let's see, we have Cedric in the pit already. Luciano there trying to make it to the pit. Let's see if he gets that car fixed. They do not use quick repairs in this series, so all the repair time will be calculated by iRacing with in respect to what damage the car has. There we see Kevin Shine also coming into the pits on lap number 5 currently. And Luciano Costa, is also coming into the pits, so we'll have to keep an eye. Oh, it looks like Kevin is back out already. He just decided to get new tires and maybe just a wing change or something like that. All right, Fabio Do Carmo is having none of these issues. He is still in the lead. He's got 3.6 seconds on Danny Hoekstra, and I do believe that these guys are fairly equal in speed. In fact, Danny Hoekstra was quicker on the last lap than the leader, Fabio Do Carmo. So if Danny can keep this together, he might have a good result here to show for here at Road America. Felipe Pinheiro is in 3rd. We have Sam Winton at 12 seconds behind Felipe in the 4th position. We have Dave Guild about 3 seconds behind Sam. Then it's Atish Debising in 6th with about 12 seconds deficit on Dave Guild. Kevin Shine after his pit stop still in the 7th position. Paul Ilbrink running very good laps there. 150.29 is his fastest lap of the race. And he is still running here in 8th position, not giving up. It looks like Cedric Bill is still on pit road. And Luciano Costa is there still as well. So let's check back in on Danny Hoekstra there, the man in 2nd position, lap number 6 of 29. He is looking to gain a little, it looks like, on Fabio Do Carmo. It was 3.5, it is now 3.3 seconds. And he was a 1/10 of a second quicker than Fabio Do Carmo in that last lap. So we might be looking at a battle for the lead brewing right here. Let's ride along with Danny here for just a few moments. There we go through the kink. And if we're looking out the back, that is Felipe Pinheiro, that little spot in the distance there. He is about 2.3 seconds behind. There you have Danny. And one more right-hander will bring him back on the main straightaway. And there in the distance, you see Fabio Do Carmo. Fabio posted a 1:15.45 as opposed to Danny's 1:50.67. So Danny is not quicker currently as Fabio Do Carmo. It's still a long race. We're going to have tire wear to deal with. So anything can still happen. And it looks like Cedric Beal is back on his way. No, Cedric Beal has left the building. He is no longer in the race. The damage was obviously too much and it took too long for him to get it repaired. Very unfortunate for Cedric Beal. Several incidents, not all of his own doing. But the last one was basically caused by him going off and not being able to control the car. And the cars that were behind him could not avoid him. And you saw him limping to the pits with a crooked chassis. So unfortunately for Cedric Beal, that was all she wrote. Danny Hoekstra, 3.3 seconds behind Fabio Do Carmo in the second position. Going through the carousel, headed towards the kink. Full out with these high downforce cars through that kink. On the backstretch, we reach about 270 kilometers an hour. And then we hard on the brakes here for a right-hander. And then a few sweeping turns that'll bring us back to a right-hander that gets us back onto the main straightaway. Let's go and check on those lap times between Do Carmo and Hoekstra. There you see it. Do Carmo ran a 1:50.4, and we're waiting on Hoekstra, and he was just a tad quicker, not by much, but it looks like they're fairly equal in speed here. Danny Hoekstra following. We have Dave Guild going into the pits on lap number 8. And I don't see any damage on the car, so I'm going to assume that this is his regular pit stop for tires and fuel. He might have chosen to do this early and then run the race on the remainder of the fuel that will be given to him. The 50% fuel capacity allows the drivers to play around with that a little bit, because the 50% fuel capacity is good for about 65 to 70% of the race distance. So basically, this could be a pit stop for Dave Gilt that will take him to the end if the tires will last that long. And that is highly depending on his driving style and his setup, obviously. Paul Ilbrink is passing Kevin Shine for 7th position here. And it looks like Kevin has a little bit better straight line speed. He may have used the draft there. Paul Ilbrink right behind Kevin Shine for 7th and 8th position. That is currently the only battle we have on the field. Let's stay here with Paul for a little bit. Had a little unfortunate incident there on the opening lap. Had to take a pit stop, and that was a fairly lengthy pit stop as well. And there we see him coming alongside on the outside of Kevin Shine. Kevin is having none of it. He is fighting for position. Once again, Paul tries on the inside, and there outbreaks Kevin Shine, and Paul Ilbrink picks up 7th position. And it looks like immediately he is pulling away from Kevin. Sometimes it's just a matter of looking for the right opportunity. Passing is not all that easy on all parts of the track, but the good thing about this track is it has long straightaways and some fairly low-speed corners at the end of them, and that gives you an opportunity to draft towards somebody and try to outbrake him when you approach the corner. Let's go check on the 5th place machine here. That is Atish Dabising. He is now 20 seconds behind Sam Winton. And he is about 30 seconds ahead of Dave Guild. We saw Dave take a pit stop. And behind Dave Guild, it is Paul Ilbrink in the 7th position. And Paul seems to be gaining on Dave Guild. Let's go check back on Danny Hoekstra in the 2nd position. 3.7 seconds behind Do Carmo. That is a fairly consistent interval that we are looking at. These guys are pretty much the same in speed. We can bring up that lap time comparison once again. There you can see that Hoekstra was quicker on the last 2 laps by just a nose length. And there we see him losing it again on lap 9. So they're pretty much evenly matched, I would say. The difference is probably just a slight little mistakes here and there. And obviously we're not robots, we're human beings, and it's not easy to drive these cars flawlessly around the track. There you see him in one shot. .1 seconds, and it looks like Danny is gaining just slightly. And obviously it also depends a little bit on where on the track you are. The slower parts, it looks like you're going to come closer. The faster parts, you stretch out a little bit once again. Do Carmo is doing an awesome job here in the lead. Looking back in the carousel turn, we can't see Danny Hoekstra. And it looks to me like there might be a slight difference in setup between these guys as far as downforce is concerned. We can try to compare the wings. Looks like Danny Hoekstra is running significantly less downforce than Fabio Do Carmo is, with that wing being set so much lower. And that might be what explains the difference in the turns. And then on the straightaways, it looks like Hoekstra is catching up just slightly. Let's check those lap times once again. As Do Carmo is finishing up lap number 10 and going into lap number 11. He runs the quickest lap of the race currently, a 150.289. Oh, and there we see Danny Hoekstra improving that, being the first driver to drop underneath the 150 mark in this race with a 149.82. So good lap for Danny Hoekstra. And it does look like he is starting to gain a little bit. Let's ride along with him. There in the distance you see a little bitty spot. It's probably very hard to tell right now, but that is Do Carmo. But running a quicker lap, that is probably very encouraging for Danny. There you see Do Carmo. The interval now coming below 3 seconds. Well, back up again. Here in the curvy section, it looks like Do Carmo gains back a little bit of what he loses on the straights. Looks like Danny is running fairly aggressively here, but also trying to be careful here in the carousel. And this is where you would probably expect him to gain a little bit. If you look at the interval, it comes down on top speed. .270 kilometers an hour, folks, on that backstretch there. Danny attacking the curbs. Pinheiro is not exactly keeping up with Hoekstra. He looks like he is about a second a lap slower currently. And my guess is that Danny is smelling his opportunities here for what would probably be his best finish this season. And maybe even top that with a win. That would be a pretty cool achievement, obviously. Let's go check on Felipe Pinheiro. He's in third position, running by himself. He is about 10 seconds behind Danny Hoekstra. And he is about 19 seconds ahead of Sam Winton in the number 17 car. There you have Sam. Let's go and check back on Paul Ilbrink. He is gaining fairly rapidly on Dave Gild. Dave is in 6th. Paul is currently still in 7th. There he comes back onto the main straightaway. He is running, his last lap time was a 150.4. Let's see if he can improve that. A 150.29, that is his personal best lap, it looks like. Paul Ilbrink trying to work his way back forward. Currently a little over a second a lap quicker than Dave Gild. And we've lost Cedric Biel and Luciano Costa. Too much damage on their cars. Danny Hoekstra in for his pit stop. And I would definitely know that this is his scheduled pit stop. So he will try to finish this race on the tires he gets now, and on the fuel. That should be plenty. Oops. There we have him. Car being jacked up. Being overtaken currently by Sam Winton. And Danny comes back in 4th position. Careful on the new tires. They need to get up to working temperature, obviously. There we have Danny back out of the pits. And that puts Danny about 38 seconds behind the leader currently. And an issue for Atish Dabi Singh. A little bit wide over the curbs there. The rear wheels on the grass as you hit the gas, that is not a good thing. That turns you right around. He has lost the nose cone of his car. Oops, having a little trouble getting it back into the right direction there. And Atish has taken it to the pits. And it looks like he actually did so with the escape button. That means that iRacing will simulate tow time for him to get back to the pits. And currently still Fabio Do Carmo in the lead, running very consistent lap times. And he is now 15 seconds ahead of Felipe Pinheiro, the number 20 car. There you have him, doing a good job here today. In 3rd place, we see Sam Winton. And he is about, let's say 4.8 seconds in front of Danny Hoekstra. Danny has made his pit stop on lap number 12. Dave Gild is about 50 seconds behind Danny. He has made his pit stop on lap 7. And it looks like Dave is coming back in once again. And that tells me that that first pit stop was for repairs rather than making it on fuel. Ooh, Paul Ilbrink is back into the pits. That's not strange. He still needs that fuel to make it to the end. And that obviously, that's the trouble with having an incident early on in the race that takes you to pit road. That pit stop early on in the race is not going to help you on your fuel, and it really throws you off of a very huge chance of making it back to the front. And Paul Ilbrink is experiencing that today. Dave Gilt coming back out as he is being lapped by Felipe Pinheiro. De Biesing's car is still being worked on back there. And with Bill and Costa having finished their race, it may well be that he is not wanting to wait on all that repairs. Paul Ilbrink having a long and lengthy pit stop. That is more than just fuel and tires. He may have decided that there the car goes up. It might be that he's got a little bit of a connection issue as well. We'll have to keep an eye on Paul and see if he comes back out. Meanwhile, we're going to check back on Fabio Do Carmo. And Fabio has put a lap on Kevin Shine. That puts the top 4 drivers left on the lead lap. So Kevin Shine, who is ahead of his teammate Dave Gilt, is the first one of the lapped drivers. It looks like Paul Ilbrink is still in the pits. He's going to go down another lap. Fabio Do Carmo passing the start-finish line, a 150.08, and we'll have to see what the time is of Hoekstra. Hoekstra is on fresh tires, and of course he's got a bit more fuel on board now. Actually, Fabio Do Carmo ran a 149.93. Pinheiro is now 18 seconds behind him. Let's go and check on Danny Hoekstra, who is about to finish his lap. There he comes onto the main straightaway. Sam Winton, meanwhile, is going for pit lane there. That means that Danny picks up 3rd position. And Danny ran a 150.77, so he's not quicker than Do Carmo, but he's running very good and consistent laps. Sam Winton on his way to the box. And it looks like Paul Ilbrink is still on pit road. He may have decided to call it a race. And let's see if we can find him. Nope, can't find him. All right, Sam Winton back out, hanging on to 4th position. Let's go check on Felipe Pinheiro here in the 2nd position. On the backstretch here, coming towards the end, a right-hand turn. 3rd gear. You can run wide here over that asphalt strip. And then it's back to the right, going on back onto the main straightaway. And meanwhile, we have Kevin Shine going into pit road for his scheduled stop, I would say. There you have him. As Felipe Pinheiro passes him by, running a 151.47. It looks like Fabio Do Carmo ran a 149.95, so he is extremely consistent and fast, consistently fast. And that means that Danny Hoekstra is not gaining anything by his early pit stop currently, but of course Fabio still has to make that pit stop, and so does Pinheiro. Dave Gilt, 5th position. And it looks like Paul Ilbrink is not leaving pit road anymore. The car is sitting there. Disappointing day for Paul. Had a good start. A little incident on lap 1 made him have to pit. And it was pretty much downhill from there. He caught back up to 7th position, but unfortunately that's where it's going to end. And that might be part of the reason he decides to do this. He's a lap down from the leaders. He's in 7th position. The odds of him working his way back to the podium are very slim. 7th position pays good points as well. Fabio Del Carmo, your leader. A 149.8. He's consistently underneath the 150 mark. And he is consistently the only driver that does that. Kevin Shine has a problem here. Let's see what happened to him. Ooh, overshoots there. That looks to me like that is the carousel. Just gets in it a little bit too hot, it looks like. Yep, just a little bit too hot. Oversteers, can't save it. And then tumbles around on the sand there. Fortunately for him, he lands on all fours. He gets it back underway. We can try and take a look. That front wing looks bent. The rear wing looks a little bent. So I would expect him to come back to pit road and get that stuff fixed. And Del Carmo is still out there on his own. It is going to be a matter of hanging on to what he has and not make any mistakes. And that would mean that he would pick up his first win this season. He's been consistently fast and he's been on the podium several times. Felipe Pinheiro in 2nd position. Felipe has about 20 seconds on Danny Hoekstra. That is not going to be enough if he pits to retain that position. That would bring Danny back in 2nd. Danny currently in 3rd. He's got about 40 seconds on Sam Winton. Sam has pitted as well. Oh, we have Fabio Del Carmo coming down pit road for his service. Fuel and tires, obviously, from the lead. Depending on Felipe's decision, there comes Felipe. He is passing for the lead here. Obviously, he still has to make that pit stop, but he picks up the lead as Fabio Del Carmo is on pit road. Good pit stop, fairly quick. And Fabio is back out on track. And that cost him, he's got about 11 seconds now down on Felipe. So Felipe, when he pits, is not going to retain that lead. Danny Hoekstra now 9 seconds behind Del Carmo. So that tells you that all in all, Fabio has been consistently quicker than Danny. And Danny has not gained from that early pit stop. And it looks like he will have to settle for 2nd place for now. Sam Winton in 4th. Kevin Shine did indeed go to the pits. He is back out again. Hanging on to the 6th position. He is 2 laps behind the leader and 1 lap behind his teammate Dave Guild. Dave in the 98 car, running 151s. Kevin has another issue. Let's see what happens here. That is the 4th turn. The 3rd turn, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, that's turn 2. And it looks like he just misses his braking point and apex a little bit and turns it around on cold tires once again. He doesn't hit anything, so that's good news for him. He gets back on the way. And then it's Felipe Pinheiro that is coming down pit road for his pit stop, lap number 19. And that means that Fabio Del Carmo There he comes. He's going to pick the lead back up again. And Felipe is still, it's a long pit road here in Road America. Takes you a while to get down there. And Danny Hoekstra picks up second position. You're seeing that as we speak. So Danny back in second position. Looks like Felipe's pit stop is going well here. Good pit stop. Back out. And passing the cones, back on his way. These cars have pit speed limiters, just a button on the steering wheel, so obviously it's not that hard to make sure you keep the right speed. A little bit, it can be a little bit tricky coming in. Oh, Felipe on cold tires there, almost gets himself in trouble. Back on his way in third position with a 18-second deficit on Danny Hoekstra. Tires always need about 1 or 2 laps to get back up to working temperature, folks, and that's what you saw happening to Felipe. Almost got caught out by that. It's always a little tricky. You want to get going as fast as you can, obviously, but you have to be a little bit careful on those first 2 laps. We have Kevin Shine back on pit road, waving that car a little bit. It looks like he's trying to figure out whether it's still straight or not. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. And brings it back up on the jacks. Do Carmo going by him for yet another lap down. That's number 3. And can he get back out again? Looks like there's some damage repair. That's Hoekstra going by. We'll have to wait and see if Kevin can get it back going again. Do Carmo still in front. Lap times fairly equal to Danny Hoekstra. So I don't expect much change anymore there unless somebody makes a mistake. Hoekstra in second position. So today's race is the 5th race in the series of 8 races, the first season of the eFormula Formula Renault 3.5 Championship. Next week, in 2 weeks, I'm sorry, we drive bi-weekly, not every week, but we drive bi-weekly in this series. And next time we will be going to Watkins Glen, another American track, basically because we're following the iRacing schedule. We are running the same tracks as they are, except for the final 2 races. The final 2 races in this season will be Monza and Francorchamps, and obviously we're all looking forward to Francorchamps, real iconic track, a real driver's track, and we think that that final race at Francorchamps is probably going to be the highlight of the season. And hopefully the field, all the drivers will be back in town for that one, because we're looking forward to Francorchamps. Famous, world-famous track, has been through many changes to improve safety. The famous Eau Rouge corner is a blast in this car. But we're not there yet. We're still at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Lap number 22 of 29. We have 8 more laps to go. Unfortunately, many drivers not able to attend this race. We started out with 10, and it looks like we are running 6 cars still. Looks like Dave is in trouble here. Let's see what happened to him. Ooh, a little bit of an off. Then on the grass, it's just so hard And then the front wheels grab on the asphalt. Yeah, the rear wheels are still on the grass, and he turns it around. And once you make things, once something like that happens, it's just really the best to just stay off the throttle completely until you are back on the asphalt, because on the grass, any touch of the throttle, you will spin a car like that around. So high powered. There's no downforce on the grass because the car is jumping more than anything else. There he's back in trouble once again. Ooh, I hope he doesn't damage the under tray of the car with that. And the under tray is basically a huge deal as far as the downforce package is concerned. The most downforce on these cars is generated by the bottom of the car, by the under tray. So when you have offs like that and you damage the under tray, you can be in big trouble. But it looks like he's back on his way. He's hanging on to 5th position. Regardless of the fact that he's a lap down, he's going to pick up some good points here. 10 points to be exact. The winner gets 20 points. The second place gets 16. The third place gets 14. The fourth place gets 12. The fifth place gets 10. And then it's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the first 12 drivers score points. And everybody that starts the race gets at least 1 point in this series. The drivers have 1 drop in the series of 8 races. That means that only the 7 best results that they have will count for the championship standings. So Dave Guild is back on his way. Ooh, once again, looks like those tires. He changed tires last 10 laps ago, 11 laps ago, so that means that those tires might be hurting him. Let's go check on our leader here. Dave, there he goes again. Looks like Dave is just getting a little frustrated. Trying a little too hard, maybe. And he's trying to get it back underway. And it looks like Dave has brought it to pit road and he has left the building. That means that unfortunately we just have 4 drivers left. And the first of which is Fabio Do Carmo, running a 115.07 as opposed to a 150.3 for Danny Hoekstra in second position. So Fabio is the master of this one here today. But he's not, I mean, he's quick, but he's not blazingly quicker than all the rest of them. Danny is running similar lap times. He's just not quick enough to make up that 10-second deficit currently. And he's probably not trying that hard anymore to do that, because he's got 6 laps to go. And he's not going to make up 10 seconds in 6 laps. Unless Fabio makes a mistake, has an off or whatever. He's not going to be able to catch up with him, and he knows it. Kicking up a little bit of dirt here and there. That tells me that he's not exactly going slow. Into the carousel. And towards the kink. And let's go check on the third place driver. That is Felipe Pinheiro. He is about 29 seconds behind Danny Hoekstra. Running in the third position, running a last lap time of 153.0. So he's not as quick as the 2 leaders, but he's hanging on to third spot. That'll pay him good points, obviously. 14 points for the third position. Sam Winton in 4th position will be picking up 12 points. That is a good result. And regardless of the fact that maybe some of the top drivers are not here, those guys are still having to perform. I mean, you still have to do these 29 laps and bring the car home. And let's be honest, we have seen Paul Ilbrink and Cedric Buell, some of the top drivers in this race, not being able to do so for various reasons, obviously. But that's why I think that regardless of the number of drivers in a race, you could never take away from the fact that a guy like Sam Winton here is running in fourth position. If he brings it home, I think he has accomplished something very significantly. I mean, a fourth place is still a fourth place, and if you don't show up, you can't beat guys like this. So hats off to Sam for doing this. He is the final run-in driver. We have only 4 cars left in the race. Unfortunately, we started out with only 10. It looks to be that the Road America track here in Wisconsin is a little bit trickier maybe than some of them have thought. And as far as I can tell, it looks like Sam is also running a fairly low downforce aero configuration. And DoCarmo is running a lot higher downforce configuration, and he's still being the quickest. So the guys that have opted for the lower downforce, they may be scratching their heads a little bit after this race and coming to the conclusion that top speed makes it hard to navigate the turns. Danny Hoekstra, equally fast as Fabio DoCarmo currently. We are at 4 laps to go. It's a matter of bringing it home now. Hey, Paul, this is Mark in the booth. Can you hear me?
Oh, hello.
Hey, Paul. I just saw you're still online here, and obviously it's not your day today. Can you talk me through what happened that finally made you decide to call it a day?
Well, I didn't decide that. My pit crew did, but
Okay.
yeah, I made like a dumb mistake on the first lap. I locked the brakes, the car got loose, and I hit the wall. So I took some repairs and just wanted to drive to the finish. But the second incident that I had was when I think it was Dave Guilds that spun in front of me in turn 5, and he was like driving like 3 seconds in front of me, and when he spun, he immediately went to recover. So I was like trying to avoid him, but he was like moving into the direction I was going, so I couldn't avoid him anymore. So that did the job of breaking my car completely. So
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, sometimes those spinning cars are moving targets that are hard to avoid. Unfortunate for you, Paul. You were doing pretty good. You, for once, you weren't on the pole position. Is this track hard for you? Is it more challenging than others? What's your opinion?
Not really. I don't know. Yeah, I probably should have prepared a little bit more, but I guess Fabio did a really good job in his qualifying, and Cedric as well. So yeah, I just couldn't go any faster at this moment than I did. So yeah, would have been more interesting if we could have a nice battle with the 3 of us or something. But yeah, I'll just keep looking how he'll do and how Danny is doing as well in second, because he's pretty quick today.
Absolutely, yes. He was very worried about this race. To be honest with you, I talked to him before, but he's doing a great job. All right, Paul, thank you very much for talking to me about it. It's unfortunate it wasn't your day, but hey, that's part of the game.
Yeah, we'll try next time.
Thank you. All right, folks, there you heard from Paul Ilbrink. I just happened to see him there, and good to hear from him. Sometimes racing just doesn't go your way. Cars that spin in front of you can be a moving target that are difficult to miss. So, unfortunately for him, the car was damaged too much. He would have wanted to continue, but the message, too much damage from the pit crew, ended his night here at Road America. So we are not very far from the finish. Danny Hoekstra has posted the quickest lap time of the race here with a 1:49.8, still in pursuit of Fabio Do Carmo. So my earlier remark that he's not going to make that up, it didn't stop him from trying. That's for sure. And I can always appreciate that in a driver. You keep going till the end. You want to make sure that the guy in front of you, no matter how far ahead he is, you want to make sure that the guy ahead of you is keeping an eye on those lap times and making sure that he's staying where he needs to be staying. It's always easier, folks, to be the chaser than it is to be the rabbit. So that is always in favor of the guy in second position. And Danny is not giving up. He's giving it all he's got. The race ain't over till the fat lady sings, as they say here in Wisconsin and some other parts of the United States, I suppose. So it looks like the next time by we'll be going into the final lap. There we go. Fabio Do Carmo has taken the white flag at the main straightaway of the Road America course here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. One more time to bring it home. Danny Hoekstra has started his final lap. So let's stick here with Fabio and give him the airtime he deserves, as he was quickest today. He did a great job, and as you heard Paul Ilbrink say, it would have been fun if we would have had that three-way battle between Do Carmo, Bill, and Paul, and maybe even Danny with them. That would have been awesome, of course, but sometimes it just doesn't go your way, and it is what it is, folks. Fabio Do Carmo proved to be the quickest. He had a bit of a challenge in the first lap from Cedric Beal, but after that it was just basically Fabio Do Carmo on top. Danny showed that he had the speed, and Danny crawled towards him before that pit stop, then made an earlier pit stop, and after that he gained back some of what he lost, but it stayed right around that 10-second mark, and not able to come closer. Fabio was just on top of things. So a good job for both these drivers here. Good results that pay good points in the championship standings. In third place, we have Felipe Pinheiro, also doing a great job consistently in the 153s, I believe, but not quicker than the leaders, but still good lap times for him. And there we have Fabio Do Carmo passing the checkered flag. He is today's winner here at the Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for the 5th round of the eFormula Series. There we have Danny Hoekstra bringing it home in second place. And that brings us to wait for Felipe Pinheiro. He's still on that final lap here, coming towards what looks to be at the end of the backstretch here. Yep, and then we have a right, left, and another right that brings him back onto the main straightaway. Felipe picks up a good third position here. Very good job. And you can tell he's happy. Good for him. And then in fourth position, following at about 14 seconds, we have Sam Winton. As I said, good for him that he brings it home. You still have to do all 29 of them, and he did. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so let's go see if we can find these guys. And First, we will bring up your results. There you have it. The Four Brothers Motorsports driver Fabio Do Carmo brings it home in first. Then it's Danny Hoekstra, Felipe Pinheiro, Sam Winton, and we have Dave Gilt, Kevin Shine, Paul Ilbrink, and Atish Debising, Luciano Costa, and Cedric Bill. And unfortunately, not rolling over the finish line, but still scoring some good points. All right, let's go find some of the drivers here. We have the winner, Fabio Do Carmo. Fabio, this is Mark in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, and I bet you are even better. First win of the season, a great race. You were right there from the start. Talk us through this, sir.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy actually. The track temperature was really high compared to the official series, so I think my setup was not well balanced to these conditions, which make things a little harder. The track is awesome, is really challenged, and especially the carousel. It's really hard to take it flat. Sometimes actually I had to lift every lap because the conditions were so hot. And on the first stint, Danny, I think he was a little bit faster than me. He was able to catch me in a few laps, but I think he made a few mistakes as well, so I could uh, keep the gap. And I guess I got an advantage on stopping after him. I think 5 or 6 laps after him, which made me increase even more the gap that we had. And I just managed to the end for the final stint with fresh tires and maybe track temperature a little lower as well. And it was fine. I'm really happy with the results, of course.
Obviously, yes, I would say the same thing. Absolutely, a great win, and I was keeping an eye on lap times as well, and it looked like you were extremely consistent, especially after your pit stop. I believe every lap was within a couple of tenths of seconds within each other. So that kind of tells me that you were also relaxed enough to just focus completely on the driving, and you weren't really worried about Danny anymore.
Yeah, I was actually trying to be really consistent. I knew he was a little bit faster, but I could not make any mistakes, any off track that I had. Especially if I went to the gravel trap, he would be able to catch me again, and I didn't want that for sure. So try to focus the best I could. I tried actually. I try not to relax so much because in these conditions, when I relax so much, it's right where the mistakes come, and I just try to keep focused.
I understand. Obviously, yeah. With relaxing, I don't mean just sit back and do whatever. Obviously, you have to stay on top of everything. Absolutely, and you absolutely did so, Fabio. Congratulations once again. Great race. Anybody you want to say thank you to or shout out to tonight?
Yeah, just a big shout out to my wife and my kids downstairs for letting me race as well. I love them very much, Fernanda, Julia, and Sofia. And also big thanks for you guys for the broadcast, for you, Mark, as well. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Fabio. Go celebrate with your family, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Danny Hoekstra, second place. Lap times extremely consistent and as close as Fabio Do Carmo's as you could wish them to be. And knowing from talking to you earlier, that was not what you expected.
Well, not at all. No, I couldn't practice a lot the last 2 weeks because of the heat here in the Netherlands. So I only did about 5 laps before the practice of this race event. So I kind of messed around with the setup, and like 5 minutes before the end of the practice session, I finalized the setup to my likings, what I believed that was best. Then qualifying, I never practiced. Pit entry, I didn't practice. So it was all a bit like playing it on safe. But yeah, apparently my lap times were quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually ran the fastest lap of the race, so 148.80, as opposed to Fabio running a 8.3. So congratulations on that. It looked like before your pit stop, you were inching towards him. Several laps in a row, you were quicker, and it wasn't going by big steps, obviously, but it gave us a little bit of hope for the future. And then you pitted earlier, and after the pit stop, it looked like you had a little bit of trouble coming back into that same rhythm again.
Yeah. I just didn't want to mess up, and yeah, I took less fuel at the start to be able to to kind of keep up, and also I wanted to pit early to avoid any battles without that much practice. So I tried to kind of get out of the traffic. But in this case, I wasn't in traffic, so the strategy actually didn't help because it cost me like 6 seconds at the end. But yeah, all in all, I'm still very happy coming from seventh place and not a lot of practice. So
Absolutely, and you know it's just one of those races. First of all, there's not a huge entry list to talk about. Understandably so. There's a heat wave probably all over Europe, so I'm sure that vacations are playing a role here as well, and that's all fine and dandy. But then the top drivers that we had here, like Paul Ilbrink and Cedric Biel and Luciano Costa, all got into trouble. So obviously that helps a little bit as well. We talked earlier to Paul, and situations with other guys crashing and still being moving targets as you pass by seem to have ended his race, which is unfortunate, but it's all part of racing, and obviously for you it helps out.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the only reason I got this far is because of I got the space around me. I pulled a gap behind me. The guys in front crashed, so that gave me like a 3 second gap behind Fabio and about 4 seconds. Oh no! At first it was within a second behind me, but I managed to pull away and I could keep up quite well. But at the end he was just a little bit faster, like overall, because sometimes I made a little mistake. But yeah, it was quite consistent and fast, so I'm really happy. And yeah, it's unfortunate that you crash sometimes, but yeah, like you said, it's racing, and yeah, shit happens.
Absolutely. All right, Danny, congratulations once again on a great finish. Your best result this season, first season of the eFormula series. So congratulations once again, and any thank yous and love yous you want to throw out here?
Yeah, thank you to my dad for this amazing strategy. No kidding. No, I want to thank everyone that helps, and thank you for broadcasting. Thanks to all the drivers for showing up, even though it's very hot. And let's hope we have more drivers next race. But I guess that will happen anyways.
All right, thank you very much, Danny, and go celebrate, my friend.
Will do. Couple of beers.
All right. All right, folks, that'll do it for tonight here at the Road America road course at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Great race for Fabio Do Carmo. Unfortunately, we can't find Felipe. I can double check again if he is still here, but I don't believe he was on the TeamSpeak server, so we can't talk to him, unfortunately. Still, congratulations to him on a good third place finish. Congratulations also to Sam Winton for a solid fourth place there. And unfortunately, as said, sometimes things just don't always work out perfectly for everybody. But that's racing, and I agree with Danny Hoekstra there. The guys that showed up despite the heat in their countries, they showed up for a good fun race here at Road America. Congratulations once again to the top three drivers, Fabio Do Carmo, Danny Hoekstra, and Felipe Pinheiro, on a well-deserved result. In 2 weeks from today, we will be coming back for the sixth round of the eFormula Series at Watkins Glen in the United States. And we hope to see you there, obviously, for more exciting racing in this open wheel series. And this is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time.